Mandy,
Hello, Katie.
every time lately I see you're in a different background. You are not in bed today.
I'm not in bed
That
today.
seems
I'm
like a
not.
win. That seems like a win.
I don't know. I'm tired enough. I could be in bed, but that's probably why I'm not. It's because I'm too tired. If I were to work from bed like I usually do, I would fall asleep.
Yep. Amen to that. Amen to that. My alarm is now set for the semester and it is I cuss at it. It's not
I'm
nice.
sorry. I hate an alarm.
It's not nice at all.
It's not. It's really
Nope.
not.
Mm.
You could just get a dog and then you wouldn't need an
Okay.
alarm.
I could. If I was gonna be here more, I'd already have one, but especially those extra hours driving in.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yep. 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 Um, well, that kind of segues into my section. School is definitely back today. As a matter of fact, we're recording on Tuesday. And I had my first day. It wasn't really class, it was more of orientation for one of my classes. And they fed us lunch, which was nice. And we had a little seminar, and then we met with our own group, which was also nice. And they asked me to speak, which was dangerous, is what I'm going to say. Is that was a dangerous move, but they did it, and it was well received. I did a little make them laugh, make them cry, and it went well. So
Good.
I was really honored to be asked to speak today. So I did that.
Good.
Yeah, so tomorrow starts the real deal, of course. That professor who I like very much has not sent the syllabus. And if you know me well, or if you've listened to this podcast for 5 minutes, you will know that that is about to make me blow a gasket, pop a vein. I don't know.
Shelby says hello.
Hey, Shelby. Can Shelby help with that?
Shelby said she'll be glad to just trot up there
Right.
and talk to somebody.
I mean, like just I have to order books. Like I would anyway. Class starts tomorrow.
Your professor sounds like me. Class
It's gonna
starts
be a great
tomorrow.
class,
Class starts tomorrow. I can get my syllabus done in the morning.
right? Um, it's gonna be a great semester. I'm very excited about the people I get to study with this year. Some great, great thinkers. Mandy's making me
Sorry.
yawn. I'm fighting it.
Sorry.
Mandy, so I'm very excited about the whole shebang. I just am about to plots to get that last syllabus.
You'll make it. You'll
I
make it.
will. The thing that broke my heart today, it made me cuss and almost lose my religion, was that it took me an hour and 45 minutes to get to campus because traffic was so bad because there were so many wrecks on 85. It is like 37 miles. And normally on a morning commute, it takes about an hour to an hour and 15. And today it took an hour 45.
Y'all can't see me shaking my head.
I,
Can you use that like
I have the Peach Pass. That is
okay.
with the Peach Pass.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Whew. So, I mean, that's not typical, but I mean, of course, on the day I'm supposed to speak.
Yeah. It was always I never had to commute much in Atlanta, but in DC, when school first started back, it was always worse. Like
Hmm.
traffic was always worse. And then it sort of evened out
Spring
after a
break week
couple of
is my
weeks.
favorite.
Yeah. I'm
There's
glad.
nobody on the road, and Emory is never in line with Atlanta's public schools. So, there's a week where I don't have to worry about traffic.
That's nice for
That's it.
you.
1 week. But it's a great my one of my favorite professors is the one that asked me to speak, and he's in charge of the program. And I walked in and he just started laughing. He was like, "Oh my gosh, Katie, you're back." He said, "I had to go to Europe to get away from you this summer to get a break, but here you are." I was like, "Yeah, I'm back." And we just laughed. It was great. He's just a wonderful human. So it was good to see my people.
Good.
Yeah. The other thing that I saw, and again, y'all, I just didn't. I'm rewatching The West Wing because of the political world right now, and it's given me a little hope, maybe. But I did watch some of the last game of the Little League World Series, and y'all, if you haven't seen the end of it, there are clips out there. The Little League World Series ended in the most Little League World Series way possible.
Yeah, it did.
It was the Florida team and Chinese Taipei. It went into extra innings. And to have the actual game end the way that it did, it ended on an error by the Chinese Taipei team. And I hate that it ended on an error like that because it just doesn't seem like a fair way to end it. Like, like it just broke my heart when it happened. I was glad that it happened because that means the US won and Florida won and whatever, but it just broke my heart. And every one of those little Chinese Taipei players were devastated and immediately dropped to their knees and just wept. And every one of those Florida players found one of the Chinese Taipei players and comforted them and said nice words to them, which is the whole reason that I like this thing so much, is that it's good baseball. Despite it ending in an error, those don't happen very often. And it was just done in a way that was so full of heart and sportsmanship, and I just loved it. And that those boys will never forget that game. So I hope you get a chance to go find that clip if you have not. Even if you're not a big baseball fan, it is just one of those things that makes you think, oh, you know what? The next generation doesn't suck all the way around. There are some good people coming up behind us. So
Absolutely. That big old black kid was my
yes,
favorite. He would dance when he got on base and stuff too,
so
but he
much
was
fun.
giving all those boys a big bear hug.
So sweet.
I
And
know, it was real
that's
sweet.
that's what you want. You want them to have fun and you want them to be good sportsmen. That's what we want from all our baseball players. And I just loved it. So I hope that you get to go find that. I also saw today, this morning, their plane came in to Florida, and like when the plane got there, the fire trucks from the airport did the water over the plane, and there was a big "2-die welcome back." And
That's
so
fun.
I'm real proud of those boys. So good for them. Um, Something else I probably won't get to watch much of because I'm going to be reading a lot about Jesus these days. But if you love the Olympics at all, then the Paralympics are going to be something that you'll want to turn on when you have a minute, because it is just, that same feeling of sportsmanship, but to a different level. What I don't suggest you do is listen to the Pablo Torre Finds Out episode about the Paralympics before you watch it.
I haven't listened to it yet, but
Don't do it.
saw the episode title.
Wait till after.
I did listen this morning to the ESPN Daily podcast, and it was a story about a girl who swam in college and was on vacation, I think in Turks and Caicos, and was attacked by a shark
Yes.
and lost her. Ended up her leg had to be amputated,
Yep.
and now she's a Paralympian. So
Yes. I
that
saw
was
her
a good one.
featured somewhere too. Yeah. So that's really, I mean, there's some great stories. There's a lot of war vets. There's a lot of, accident victims. There's a lot of people with birth defects that have had to have amputations. The blind runners that run with a partner are always just, because anyway, it's just the stories are never ending for the Paralympics. But again, now that they've started, just wait. Save that episode of Pablo Torre Finds Out until after they're done.
Yep.
Um, you're welcome.
Thank you.
The other thing I should have put on here on the show notes that I want to mention that is starting tonight, Mandee, our friends
True South.
at True South are back. And the first episode is Oklahoma, and it's with Luke Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, that alarm about killed me today. Zach Bryan, and I didn't know he was in it.
Luke
They just
Bryan's from
revealed that today.
Leesburg.
Right. I know who Luke Bryan is. Zach Bryan. I could see his face and I called the wrong one. Anyway, so that starts again tonight. Our friends over at True South, we hope you'll watch that and love it as much as we do. I'm sure that I've seen the list of cities. I'm sure this season is going to be just as much fun and just as exciting and wonderful and heartfelt as the rest of them. So make sure you start watching that tonight, which Friday or whatever. So sorry. Um anyway, so Mandee, you have had a much more exciting. Oh, I will tell you, I did do this. I went to North Georgia to Dahlonega with the worship team from Candler, and we had a retreat at this really pretty
Oh yeah, you were doing the ropes course. Did you have to
retreat
do the
center.
press ball?
That's right. First of all, I'm too old for this. I did not have to jump up and down. So that was good. But I will say, our dean and the girl that works there with her at Cannon Chapel put together a great group of people. And the people leading the ropes course were like, y'all are the quickest to ever finish any of these. And you're so self-aware that like you teach yourselves the lessons.
Well, good.
And we were like, well, that's because we're full grown adults and you usually have middle schoolers. Just saying. And so we did all these exercises. What was really interesting, the most interesting part of it to me was we have a lot of students that come from South Korea. There's a large Methodist and Presbyterian community in South Korea. And these men, young boys, I mean, they're fresh out of college, coming over. This is their second week in the country. English is their second language. And they were just amazing. And to hear
Awesome.
them try to navigate this thing that they've never done or seen or had any experience with in a different language was hilarious. Now, we do have one lady who's been here for like 30 years, and she's the organist at a church in Atlanta, and she's getting her doctor of music ministry. Anne's great. And Anne at one point was like, hold on. And she started speaking to him in Korean. And she just rattled off all this stuff. And we're like, what did you tell them to do? And she said, I just told them to get out of the way and move. But
Well,
that
there
was
you
the
go.
only time they did any of those activities in their own language. The rest of the time they did it in English with us. And it was just, they're so kind and sweet. And so it was, as much as I poo-pooed it, it was very interesting to watch from that perspective. So
Did you have to do a trust fall?
we did not do a trust fall. There was one thing where you stood like around on an elevated, almost like a balance beam, and you had to put yourself in alphabetical order without stepping
Did
off.
a beam routine?
Did a beam routine. Oh, honey,
For
if I
Olympic.
said it once, I said it 5,000 times. I am Simone. I can do this. No problem. And they were like, who's Simone? Those little
Oh,
South
Lord.
Korean fellows were like, who? We had to like navigate. Anyway, it was if you've ever done any of those ropes or, puzzle kind of physical stuff, I mean, that's what we were doing.
So
So,
basically, what you're saying is you're ready for Survivor
honey, bring it.
and the Olympics.
Uh, well, I was already ready for that. So, yeah, I got to show off my beam skills.
You could do Survivor with Olympians.
Uh, uh,
And beat them.
100%.
Okay. All right.
We went to a great little restaurant in Dahlonega too. Dahlonega is a cute town. I'd never really spent any time there, but it's a little mountain town. There's a college there, which of course brings a lot of people. There's a base nearby somewhere. I don't know. So was a lot of military in town, cute restaurants. It was great. I was like, I'm coming back here. So
Well, good.
yeah, it was nice.
Good.
So
I'm
I
glad.
feel like I've done all the things.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Mandy, how about your week? I know I circle back around to mine, but you have been, if you really need to follow her on the Insta. I loved the video of you and your sister in Chicago that went kind of around y'all. I don't know what that was or how you got to do it, but I loved it.
They have these guys just set up
Okay.
along the river that have like a ring light that's on a motor, and you step up on a little round podium, and the ring light with a camera on it obviously just goes around in a circle, and they film you and then they airdrop it to you. And we didn't know it had music accompanying it until I posted it on Instagram. But yeah, no.
There we go.
Since last we spoke, um, I have done another 5 a.m. cross country practice awakening.
Look, best birth control ever.
Almighty.
Just saying.
And these kids are easy.
Right.
So I can't imagine having kids that don't want to get up and having to make them get up. Mm-mm. But no, it's fine. Shelby thought she might take off running. The morning I had to get my own self up at 5:30 to go to the airport.
Oh,
She thought she might take a little jaunt.
hell no.
Luckily she came right back.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, so we went to a Cubs game, and Cubs won, so that was fun. We went to then we went back to the hotel and ordered a burger in bed and some Levain cookies, because Chicago now has a Levain bakery. If y'all have never had
Stop.
Levain cookies, y'all need to get some.
Stop.
So yeah, we just ate burgers and Levain cookies in bed.
You know
uh,
what? That's like the best day.
right. And then Saturday we just did all the things. We went to the art museum. We walked around. We went to brunch. We did the architecture tour at night. We went to dinner. Like, it was fun. We did all the things. And then we got up Saturday to go to brunch. We ate brunch, and then we were gonna go do some shopping. And all of a sudden, I was like, I am unwell.
Oh.
So again, we ended up going back to the hotel and piling up. And I'll talk about what we watched later. But yeah, but I did rally long enough to go to the concert at Soldier Field. We saw Pink and Sheryl Crow.
That
And
is what I mean, you got pretty close to dance me, but I I love Pink so much.
she's
And
just a
Sheryl
ray
Crow.
of sunshine.
Love
She's
her.
just so positive. The crowd was so fun. It was like everybody from little girls who were so excited to be there to, boomers.
She's
And
great.
she really was. She was just a lot of fun and freaking amazing.
She flies all over the
I
place and
mean, are you
oh,
kidding me? And is still singing
yeah.
while she's spinning around like a trapeze artist. I
Uh-huh.
don't understand it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Was her
yeah, so that
daughter
was
there?
fun. Huh?
Was her daughter there with her this
No,
time?
she said
Okay.
she had to go home.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
they
'cause they
had
had sung
just been at
together.
the
Yeah, they had
DNC
sung together
together.
at the DNC. Yeah, that was the other fun thing. When we got there, it was the last night of the DNC. And so I had booked a hotel a little bit away from all the, downtown
Hoopla.
stuff, but it was still packed full of DNC participants. So that was fun. They were all excited.
Good.
Um, and my sister, who doesn't understand politics at all, was like, well, how do we get in? I'm like, we don't.
You don't.
You have to time travel and work very hard for your local Democratic Party for 20 years if you want to get
I
in.
know. So tell me about, I was real interested on your something where you said that you did the night architecture tour. I've never done the night one. Was that good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I love Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. But if I go back, I was interested to see if you liked it at night.
I did, because most everything's so well lit up, you can
Yeah.
still see it all.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, I would, and that everything we were doing, my sister's like, "You've already done this. You've already done this." I'm like, "Well, I haven't done a nighttime
Yeah.
architecture tour."
Okay, cool.
But yeah, no, it was fun, and the views are just really pretty.
Mhm.
Um,
It's a
so
great city. If you've never been to Chicago, it is not the mob. I mean, it may be in parts, but like it is not what you think it is. It is a great town. I really enjoyed all my time there. So and was
yeah,
pleasantly surprised by the whole thing.
and everybody's very friendly.
Yes.
Just yeah. Yes. But yeah, so then got back here on Sunday, um, and then had another 5 a.m. cross country practice
Mm.
yesterday. And then
That
Shelby
hurts my spirit for
and
you.
then Shelby really decided to take off yesterday to the point where I had to get in my car and
Oh
drive
no.
around looking for her.
I had to do that a couple times with the Upshaw dogs, and I'm like, y'all aren't worth this.
I was just before texting Kelly in Ireland to say,
I've
if a
lost your dog.
strange number calls you, answer it because Shelby's wandering the neighborhood somewhere. And Shelby was home when I got home
Of
from riding
course.
around. And
Of course.
she was very sorry. She was
Uh,
very, very
well, as
sorry.
long as she was sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm basically just real tired because traveling's fun and exhausting, and kids are fun and exhausting. I just want to tell you, all you parents of teenagers who think that your teenagers think you're a total idiot, it's not just you; it's all the adults
All
in their life.
adults.
We're
Yeah.
all idiots. I was like, could y'all quit asking me why I am doing something the way I am doing it? Just for once? Maybe because I'm a grown ass woman and I can do it however I want to?
Did you listen to the Big Boo this week?
I don't think so,
So they took Boo Mama, Sophie, took their son back to Sanford. And the boys stacked their beds to do bunk beds. But when they did that, his roommate put his mattress about 3 inches from the ceiling. Cause and so they said to them, we are going to fix this for you, but you have to leave the building because we don't want to hear you tell us what to do.
Right.
And they made them leave and go to lunch. And by the time they got back, they had fixed it. And there's a whole big thing. It's a great episode to listen to, but like that's what that made me think of. Like they said you cannot be in the same space we are in if we're going to try to help you.
I mean, I get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
And who would the thing to me too was like when they stacked them like that, fine. Like if you can't fit or if you wake up in the middle of the night and get startled and smash your face on the ceiling,
Listen, they don't care. They know
whatever.
everything, Katie.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah. Um, but no, it's fine. I was on the phone with my sister and I walked in the house. I went to dinner uh last Wednesday. And when I walked back in the house, and Sanders had not taken the empty spinach container to the recycling like I had asked him to 4 hours ago. And Addie had not put her plate in the dishwasher like I had asked her to 4 hours ago. So I'm on the phone with my sister and I walk back in the house and she's like, "My God, you sound like a mother." I'm like, well, I am this week.
Yeah.
So anyway, but they're easy. I mean, like yesterday morning, Sanders wasn't getting up, and Addie's in there banging on his bed, getting him up. I mean, they take care of each
That's
other.
the fun part though, is
Yeah,
waking a teenager up out of a dead sleep.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm, a sadist in some ways. I would torture 'em.
Sanders' favorite thing to ask me in the past 2 days has become, "Well, what are you going to do if I don't?"
Oh, okay. This is why I don't have children. F around and find out, buddy.
Well, don't think I didn't tell him exactly that. Do you doubt that
I
I
know.
I
I know.
can't,
I know.
Sanders?
Yeah.
Like, have you forgotten who I am? With your parents' permission, by the
Yeah.
way,
I will
and
beat you.
blessing.
Yeah.
And the fact that I haven't already kicked your ass is going to piss them off. So you better check yourself.
Yeah. Try that one more time, buddy.
Oh god.
I love
mean,
it. I
yeah.
love
So
it.
it's not just you parents.
Yeah,
We
everybody.
do that with all the adults. And baseball is also exhausting.
I what when I've got a question about a game I wanted to get your perspective on. So go ahead and say what I don't know what you're going to talk about today specifically, but I do have a question.
Well, Michael Harris the second came back
Okay.
last week from his hamstring, and lo and behold, he doesn't get hit on the damn hand. And he did come back in the game last night. So hopefully he's okay. But as Casey said last night, the next pitcher that hits one of our guys in the hand, we're storming the mound.
Like not
Yes,
like the players. Like
we
we are going to jump
storming
over.
the mound.
I know.
Lord.
I know. So the story that was intriguing to me was the one where the catcher played for both teams.
Yeah, that was a fun story.
That
So
was a fun story.
the Red Sox
Yes.
and the Toronto Blue
Blue
Jays
Jays. Mm-hmm.
were playing a game that got suspended by weather, and the guy that was up to bat for the Blue Jays got traded to the Red Sox in the meantime. And so he was now the guy who was at bat when the game was suspended is now catching for the other team. So
For
he's
himself.
the only player in Major League Baseball to ever play for two different teams in one game.
It's crazy.
Isn't that
So he
wild?
was catching for himself, kind of.
Yeah, for the
They
guy
had
who
a
they had to do a
yeah, designated hitter,
pinch hitter.
pinch hitter, pinch hitter. Because okay, that's right. So
Pinch,
they did a
yeah,
pinch hitter. So he was catching for his own hit.
his own at
It
bat.
it
Yeah,
was just wild.
yeah. Only in
I
baseball.
loved it. Only baseball. Only
Only in
baseball.
baseball. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other thing I was going to say when you were talking about the Little League World Series earlier is Dylan Cruz, who played for the Lake Mary Little League team back in the day, and then went on to play at LSU, which some of you all may remember our love of the LSU team. He played with Paul
Yes.
Skeens and Tommy
Yes.
Tanks, and year before last when they won the World Series, and then he got drafted. Can't remember if he was second or I think he was second. Um, he got called up on Monday, so he has now made it to the bigs. And so I saw somewhere it was the first, second, and fourth picks of the draft have already gotten called up, and that's the fastest that's ever happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Crazy. That's
yeah.
probably because of all these injuries this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Is
I
it
don't know
just
what
us?
I don't know what the situation was with the Nationals. I don't even know what position he's playing.
Yeah.
But I mean, Paul Skeens got called up just because he's good.
Yeah.
And then Wyatt Langford, he started the year up. So
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah.
that's really cool that he played on that team. I love that.
I know the very same team.
Love it.
Yep. Okay, Katie, let's talk about some food, my
Look,
friend.
I you know, I had my meeting last night with my physician's assistant. Adjusting to a higher dose of these meds is a thing,
Yeah.
but I've got some good help from him yesterday, so things will be good. It's all good. Still going great. But what I have seen, tuna is a really good source of protein. And all over TikTok is this viral cucumber salad thing. Now, here's what I don't own, and I will never own is a mandolin because Katie is very prone to cutting herself. And if I own a mandolin, I will lose a digit.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to do that. But what the kid does is he does a whole cucumber in a container and then he just adds whatever flavoring he wants. So what I'm going to do is almost like a spicy tuna roll, but very low on the spice because reflux is real on these meds when you're adjusting to a new dose. So tuna, I put a actual recipe for one that was similar, and the one that they had on the Slender Kitchen was like topped on top of cucumbers. But I'm just gonna mix it all together and then eat off of it every night when I get home from school. But I'm gonna do cucumber, tuna. Some people blend up cottage cheese, but that's a lot of work. And so I'm just going to use Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, kewpie mayo, which I have tried and liked, by the way, for stuff like this. A touch of sriracha because, I don't want to totally give up spice at all. Rice vinegar, sesame oil, soy sauce. So I'm going to mix all that up. I'm not gonna shake things because 'cause I'm too old to shake things, they still jiggle. Just like they said today when we were taking our group picture to jump up and down and act dumb, and I was like, "I'm too old to jump. I don't jump. Things happen when I jump. I'm not jumping." And all the little children were like, What happens when you jump?" And I'm like, "Y'all don't wanna know? You really don't wanna know." So, anyway, I'm just gonna mix it all together and keep it in a container and eat off of it, when I get home. So that's my version of it. But there are 1,000 different ways. If you go online and look, anything you like, a lot of them are Asian inspired with this kind of thing. I mean, I've seen the traditional, like just onion and vinegar. I've went into Google and there's 1,000 different recipes, but doing it just with the cucumber instead of with rice is definitely a good option. So that's what I'm doing this week for dinner.
Well, good. I like
Yes.
it.
We'll try it and see how it goes.
See how it goes. Well,
Yeah.
good.
So Mandy, I am so excited to see your list of this is a fun list. I can't wait to hear all your recommendations for your favorites this week.
So when we headed back when I wasn't feeling well on Saturday morning, they had Netflix on our hotel television. So
Yes.
I was like, let's watch the Simone Biles documentary on Netflix because I suspended my account.
Yep.
So we watched the Simone and it was good, and then we watched the Receivers one. Now listen, am I going to start watching every NFL football game?
No.
No, I'm not. But am I going to be rooting for DeAndre
Yes.
and uh Amon Ra and Debo? I already love George Kittle. Like
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love Kettle.
and Justin Jefferson. Like, am I gonna be rooting for all these guys? Yes. Yes, I am. You better believe it. It was just really good. Really, really
Yes.
recommend that one. Again, you get all into their stories and it was really
That's
good.
why we love it.
George Kittle's a damn hoot.
Uh,
That's just all there is to it.
and loves his wife.
Lord have mercy.
Loves
And
that
don't you
woman.
know that Travis Kelsey totally would have done that show had he not started dating
Oh,
Taylor?
100%.
Like, I wouldn't doubt if they weren't already filming Travis and then like he backed out, like, once it
I
all
thought that same
happened.
thing. Yeah.
Um and then the other thing I had is, listen, I'm tired, y'all. So I was really kind of struggling to come up with some favorites because, like, nothing's real favorite right now. I just want to go to sleep. But I've thought about some books that I have recently read that I have enjoyed. If you don't follow, I think I've already recommended that you follow the Parnassus Instagram account. That's Ann Patchett's bookstore in Nashville.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And she does great. Like, she does a thing on Tuesday and she does a thing on Friday. But one of the things she did recently on Friday, it's her theme on Fridays is, if you haven't read it, it's new to you. And so she
Yes.
highlights older books that she really loved. And one of those that she mentioned recently, she was like, whenever I'm just feeling down, I just go pull out On Beauty by Zadie Smith.
And I don't know that one.
I'm like, let me immediately like
Right.
get that book. So I listened to it on the Libro which is my new alternative to Audible because it accesses
Yes.
small bookstores. And it was just this rich character development, where you're still thinking about the characters weeks later after you finish the book. It was just a lovely book. So I would also recommend On Beauty by Zadie Smith.
Love
And
it.
then
I love this. I'm adding it to my list.
back when we were all watching on FX the Swans, I put on a requested In Cold Blood by Truman Capote from the library, and it took until now for me to get it. But so I've been listening to that as well.
Really?
And listen, before Truman got drunk all the time, he was quite the writer. I don't know if anyone was aware of this.
He and
Uh,
Harper were both quite the
I
writers.
mean, it's a really good book. And to know that Truman later, like, became obsessed with one of the murderers, like visited him in the
Hmm.
jail, and all that, knowing all that while I'm listening to it, I'm like, wow, this is really fascinating. So In Cold Blood. And then the other one I'm listening to and loving is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn
I have
by
not
Mark
read
Twain.
that. And
So
I,
I went back. There's a new book out called James, and it's written from the perspective of Jim. Uh,
really,
yes, and so I wanted to go back and read this one before I read James. So that's why I'm doing that. But I'm loving Huckleberry Finn.
I'm
It's
gonna
just, now
put,
listen, it is jarring as all
yes,
hell for them to casually drop the N word.
yes.
It is jarring, um, but it's still just, I mean, a great book. And I can't wait to read James because, like I said, it's told from Jim's perspective.
I
So,
just put that on my list. By
um,
Percival Everett.
yes,
I can't wait.
I know, right?
I know.
Um, so yeah, that's what I'm enjoying. I got so tickled last night when we were eating dinner. Addie, who is a sophomore, started going on and on about how much she hated Romeo and Juliet because, let's face it, Romeo is, first of all, he's a pedo because he's 17 and Juliet's 14. And then he's a creeper. Like, he's
Yeah.
just staring at her up on her balcony. And then they've known each other for 3 days and they want to get married. And then they're going to just kill each other. Like, what is wrong with these people? Everybody needs to get some perspective about this. I was howling. But she says to me, "Well, Miss Mandy, like, is there something that just drives you crazy like that?" And I was like, "Let me think about something recently." And I was like, "The Women" by Kristen Hanna.
I mean, I have a friend who's recently read it, and I didn't want to like say disparaging things about it. She was so excited. I didn't want to hurt her spirit about it. So I
I've
was
seen
like,
so
I'm
many
so glad you
people.
loved it.
I've seen so many people that loved it, and I'm just like, y'all didn't watch as many soap operas as me as a
Of
kid.
all the books of Kristen Hanna's, that is the one they love the most.
Hmm.
Nobody's ever really dead.
Listen,
I
Stefano Demira up in here.
I loved the first part, and I think if it had stayed more China Beach, I would have
Yeah,
loved it,
yeah,
but it did not.
it did not. It went full
Oh, so anyway,
Days of Our Lives.
it did go
Um,
full Days of Our Lives.
yeah.
It did.
But anyway, I knew that would make you laugh when I was like, "Yes, Addie, that's exactly how I feel about the
Matter
women."
of fact.
And then the last thing I was trying to think of, like, having traveled, what was something that I loved traveling. It's a toiletry bag that I bought a couple of years ago. It's huge, but what I will tell you is, as we get older and we need more things, this can hold all your things. In fact, at this point, I just keep all my meds in there. Um, like, because,
Yeah.
listen, there was this one time I went to New Orleans for a friend's 40th birthday party. And when I got about halfway over the Pontchartrain Bridge heading home, I thought I'm going to toss my cookies right here. And I ended up having to pull over in Slidell. No, I was not drunk, and I maybe had food poisoning. I don't know. But I had to get a hotel room in Slidell, and I had not brought
Enough.
my Finnegan.
Yeah.
Even though I've not taken a trip in 20 years without my Finnegan, I was just
Right.
spending one night. I didn't need my Finnegan.
Just
I'm
one
never gonna
night.
make that mistake again, y'all. So all my meds are just in my toiletry bag that I take everywhere. I leave it packed.
Yeah.
It's great. It holds all your stuff. It holds everything you need. So, and it hangs up when you get somewhere. You can just
So
hang it up, and then you
I
can see
just
all your things.
pulled it up. I like that part that it
Yeah.
hangs. Yeah.
And it's clear. Everything's clear. So once it's hanging, you can see where everything
I
is.
like that.
So I just thought I would recommend my toiletry bag.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, what's
So,
your week like, Mandee?
well, I will head home tomorrow afternoon once I have confirmed that the parents' flight from Chicago to Atlanta has taken off. Then I will head south, and then I will pick up young Frederick in Pensacola on Thursday morning. So we will launch right back into the adventures of Freddie.
Can't wait.
It's Labor Day weekend, so
It
hell
is.
at my house. Susie and I did think maybe we'd get together and do something on Friday. Maybe it wouldn't be quite so crazy, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So that's really
Yeah.
it. What about you? Got fun Labor
Well,
Day plans?
look, here's the thing that the best news of the day came in while we were having this get together here on Zoom. The final syllabus has finally shown up.
Listen, praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
So, classes officially start tomorrow, like actual class. Today was more of an orientation. So, I'll start classes. One of them's not even meeting because the guy's still out of the country, out saving the world. And Labor Day, Sunday doesn't care that it's a holiday weekend.
Right.
So I'll be preaching Sunday, and then right after the service, I'm gonna head up to the lake with my friend Becky. And it's not that far, so I thought about coming back because even though Monday's a holiday, like I still have to write next week's sermon. I have to read for class. I have to, do all the things. But I think I'll probably spend the night and come back first thing Monday morning.
Okay.
That way
Well,
I'm
good.
not coming over Blood Mountain at, you know,
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night with all the switchbacks.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, I'm excited about that and ready to get the semester started. It's going to be a good one.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yippee.
Yay, here we go. Balls to the wall, pedal to the metal. I will say too, one of my members who I love, she's something did not get done that is very minor. And she said, this is what my church member texted her preacher. She said, my trouble is that I have CRS, can't remember shit. That's why I love these people.
There you go.
Right there. That's why I love them. And why I'm the perfect preacher for them because I say shit too.
There you go.
There we go.
All right,
All
friends.
right.
Well, we hope y'all have a good Labor Day weekend.
Yes, watch True South, watch all the baseball. Football's big this weekend. It's kind of kicking off. I'm sure we'll have updates next week on that. Eat your protein and your fiber.